Welcome back to another video with Project Artemis. I'm Riley and I'm super excited to show you guys this amazing first place winning list from the recent Prague Regional Championships, which is the first tournament in the perfect order format and the first tournament of rotation. Now, shout out to Mateus for winning the tournament with this really unique and just innovative Dragapult list. It's like super well put together, and let me break it down for you guys. So as we all know, Drakloak from Twilight Masquerade has a recon directive ability. Look at the top two cards of your deck, put one in your hand and put one at the bottom of your deck. This is really important for being able to cycle and stack our deck. And then of course it evolves into Dragapult EX, one of the most powerful and broken attacks in the history of the game. Jet Headbutt, 1 energy for 70. No, I'm just kidding, not that one. But Phantom Dive, fire and a psychic, does 200 damage and put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. Now, this is obviously really good, being able to spread our damage around. And unlike other Dragapult lists, where you might have Pheasantipity as support to draw more cards, and then other stuff like Latias or Meowth EX to find supporters, or even Blood Moon or Saluna, we have actually no other basic multi-prize Pokemon in our deck. Instead, we have the Dunsparce and the Dunsparce EX for our extra draw with draw power with Runaway Draw. Once your turn, you may draw 3 cards and then shuffle this Pokemon back in your deck. So we can basically infinitely access multiple runaway draws in our deck if we put down a Dunsparce and then use the Dunsparce, and then after evolving and then put it back in our deck, and then we can draw back into Dunsparce and then like do it again on the next turn. So this is really cool and allows us to dig through our deck way faster and like find more stuff, of course. And it's not multiple prize Pokemon, so it's really good. And then the other benefit of this is the second version of the Dunsparce EX has for 1 energy Tenacious Tail 60 times for each of your opponent's EX Pokemon in play. This can be really good against decks like Clefairy box or Ogerpon box or Raging Bolt or any of those kind of 2-prize, multi-prize type decks. Just 1 energy, very efficient thing to want to KO them after they knock out our Dragapult EX. But the really cool part about this is that also the second attack for 3 colorless energies, Destructive Drill, does 150 damage and is not affected by any effects on your opponent's Pokemon, which is really important because the second most popular deck in this format and at the tournament was Crustle, and Crustle does not let us damage it with Dragapult EX. So yeah, because it's not be able to hit by any EX Pokemon, but the Dunsparce EX gets through it, and it has 150 HP, we can just knock it out with Destructive Drill if they don't have a Hero Escape on it. Now, if they do have a Hero Escape on it, we can do a couple things. We can put our own Hero Escape on the Dunsparce EX and then set up multiple Munkidoris, and so when they hit us for 120, it's actually 90 or 60 even, and our Destructive Drill is sending back 180 to 10 at them sometimes. So we can still outpace them as long as they don't get the first hit on our Dunsparce on the bench. So yeah, really cool innovation. Shout out to Mateus, like I mentioned. Yeah, we have 2 Munkidoris in our deck to help with that, and then 1 Budew. We're actually choosing first, I think, more often with this deck because we want to get ahead with our Dunsparces and our Drakloaks. So we don't really need to. Sometimes we'll Budew, but we also don't have Latias, so we can't retreat into it as easily as we could in other versions of the deck. So I think 1 is just enough. So we also have 4 Lillies, of course, the best drop supporter in the game after rotation, especially. We definitely have 4 of these. 3 Bosses Orders, 3 is a really good number. We could maybe have 4 in here, but I think this is the perfect amount. And then 3 Crispins, just to be able to find them way more often so that we can be getting ahead on our attachments for multiple Phantom Dives, and then also being able to attach to our Munkidori, the Dark Energy, which is really good. 2 Brocks, this acts as like multiple like extra Buddy Poffins on the first turn, or ways to get the Dunsparce or Drakloak for additional drop power, which is really important, and also is really good under item block. Now, in the past, we had like Professor Turo Scenario to pick up and heal stuff, but now we have Acerola's Mischief, which is also really good inclusion in this deck. Because we don't have any of those extra 2 prize liabilities on our bench, we can get to a board state at the end of the game where our opponent maybe 2 or fewer prize cards, and we have just one big Dragapult EX with a Hero's Cape on it, and then you just Acerola Mischief it. So there's like almost no way that it's gonna get knocked out. The one thing is that it does prevent all damage and effects, but only from opponent's EX Pokemon. So basically any deck that's gonna be attacking us with EX Pokemon, we're gonna be having a gigantic lone invincible Dragapult from. However, stuff like Alakazam does get through this. So Alakazam is actually a pretty bad matchup, but it's maybe worth considering putting like one Judge in here or something, because now that people kind of know that this deck doesn't play hand disruption, then you maybe could play hand disruption and then like catch them off guard. Maybe Harlequin actually, because technically that's statistically higher odds to disrupt your opponent. But yeah, anyways, something like that. But yeah, Acerola's Mischief has been enough usually to overcome some really cool, or like force some really cool board positions where opponent just literally cannot do anything. So not having disruption actually doesn't matter when our board is just like so perfectly set up, right? So yeah, really cool Acerola's Mischief there. And you can find it actually easier with our 2 Pokégears. By the end of the game, we can basically like use all of our Dunsparces and like get really close to the bottom of our deck, and then get to a point where we can basically see all 7 cards that we haven't seen yet and Pokégear into a guaranteed Acerola or boss or whatever you need to close out the game, which is really, really good. So I really like the Pokégear inclusions in this deck. 4 Buddy Poffins, of course, to find all of our little basics, and then 4 Poké Pads because it finds all of our draw power, which the Dunsparce or Drakloak or even Munkidoris, which is really important. And then Ultra Ball, 4 Ultra Balls for maximum consistency on finding all of our pieces, of course. And like I said, 2 Pokégears, 2 Night Stretchers. This may be a little bit tricky. I think it's like a good amount, but you have to be really careful when you're like discarding Munkidori or Dark Energy pieces kind of early, because sometimes you want to set up 2 or 3 Munkidoris, but if you use both your Night Stretchers and your opponent knocks one out, then it can be kind of weird. But if you're careful with them, it's pretty good. And then like I said, Hero's Cape, really amazing ace spec here. We don't even need Unfair Stamp when it doesn't matter what our opponent does. Why try and disrupt them and hope they don't draw out of it when you can just force board states where they literally can't do anything, right? So plus 100 HP can go on our Dragapult EX, make it 420 HP, or our Dunsparce EX, make it 370. Or I mean, like, it goes on any Pokemon, right? But like we can put it on Drakloak if we need to, if we think that can get knocked out earlier on the bench. Munkidori, if for some reason we need a lot more HP on the Munkidori, or even a Budew for some reason to get 130 on it. Now, Risky Ruins is really, really good here. Some people have been playing Area 0 in the Dragapult decks to remove like liabilities and stuff, but we don't even have those, right? So we can take advantage of Risky Ruins, which kind of takes place of like Howlucha that has also rotated, rest in peace to Howlucha. But instead we can use this stadium, put it in play, any non-basic Pokemon, non-dark Pokemon that you bench or your opponent benches will get 2 damage counters put on them. So we can like put the stadium down and then bench our own Munkidori and then immediately attach Dark to it and then move that 20 damage over to our bench and then Phantom Dive into their Pokemon that may be 70 or 80 HP, or clean up some math to give us that additional push we need to access our opponent's bench, which is really good. And then our energy counts for Psychic, 3 Fire, and 2 Dark. Yeah, really, really amazing, well put together deck. I've been having a lot of fun playing it, and there's some really like interesting boards that we can create with this, and loops like we can create. For example, with like the Dunsparce, we can Risky Ruin loop the Dunsparce EX and generate infinite damage while we're Ichiponing, so our opponent can't do anything, and then move the damage to our opponent while we're locking them. And then also we can set up like checkmates where our opponent, we just have the lone Hero's Cape, like full HP Dragapult, and just all 1 price Pokemon, and our opponent can't do anything. So I have a game showcasing each of those situations for you guys, and I hope you're gonna enjoy it. I think they're really cool and interesting, so let's jump into it.
Hey y'all, Eliza here from Project Artemis, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to this video sponsor, Heavy Play. They're able to hook the team up with some super cool products like the Heavy Play RFG Deck Box Carrier. Able to fit multiple Heavy Play products, such as 5 of the RFG deck boxes as well as a dice tray, or 4 of the 133 double sleeve deck boxes. On top of that, because of the Equip Mag system, you're able to latch on a playmat too, or if you have more deck boxes that you need to carry, you can always attach those so you can go a little bit wide. I super appreciate everything that they do for the team and the different products they hook us up with, so shout out to Heavy Play. Now, back to the video.
In our first game here, we're going to be playing against a Team Rockets deck with this Team Rockets Articuno, which basically says Dragapult EX only does 200 damage to the active with Phantom Dive because it protects all of their basic Pokemon from effects of attacks. So that means we're going to have a difficult time sniping their bench, and they probably have a lot of modifiers that'll let them one or the Honchkrow actually which will let them 1 KO our Dragapult EX. So this could get a little bit tricky. They did only get 1 Murkrow down, so it is maybe a little bit of a slower start from them, and luckily we do have Budew, so we can itchy paw on them and see how far they're able to get. So they just get Team Rocket's Petrol and draw some with the factory, and luckily for us we do have Risky Ruins to go ahead and bump that immediately. And with this rocks, I could get Drakloak or the Dunsparce here, and I'm going to go ahead and get the Dunsparce because we have less of them in our deck, and it also draws 3 and we get to keep all of them, so there's more likely chance that we'll be able to get a Drakloak from it. And we also do have the Ultra Ball in our hand, so worst case we just play the Ultra Ball with more cards in our hand. So that's why I got the Dunsparce there. And I'm gonna go ahead and get another Drakloak here, just to get both of them in case there's like a Giovanni, Team Rocket's Giovanni, which can bring up the Drakloak and then knock it out next turn. And that way we have an energy on 2 Draklooks, and we should be able to Phantom Dive next turn if we want to. We're gonna go ahead and just itchy paw in again. Now next turn, I think we can just, like, depending on what they do, they're able to get like all their basics down, and actually they get another Articuno down as well. So this makes it a little bit pretty tricky for me. Now I really don't want to just like start Phantom Diving, and because I feel like they don't have like Honchkrow yet either, or energy, so maybe I can like buy some more time and do something with these itchy pollens. Maybe I can set up multiple knockouts with Munkidori and Risky Ruins. They haven't even bumped their City yet. So now I'm just like thinking about how we can get around them not benching the Articuno again, right? So basically one way to do that is probably using Munkidori to move damage over to the bench Articuno while we're slowly itchy pollening down this Articuno in the active and get to a point where we can take both out at the same time, and then maybe make it hard for them to get 2 down and then boss up the second one again, and then maybe run them out of Articunos. But because we don't play any hand disruption, they're just gonna keep like building up a big hand. So I'm sure whenever we do take out 1 if not both of the Articunos, they will just have like a Night Stretcher or something to bring it back. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really important to knock out both at the same time, and they're like still not doing anything at all, which is really good for us. So what's really cool about this deck, and I did misplay a little bit. I think I shouldn't have evolved that Dragapult. There was no reason to, because I'm not gonna Phantom Dive. Basically with the Risky Ruins in play, we can just keep cycling the Dunsparce back into our deck, while every time we bench it we get 20 more damage to work with. So now we can basically generate infinite like damage, 20 at a time each turn, with the Dunsparce and our Munkidori. Now if we had maybe not benched multiple Draklooks and just kept 2 in play, we could have had like 2 monkeys and then been doing this twice as much, or like 2 Dunsparces and been doing it even more. But I didn't really think about this game plan until they benched the second Articuno. So basically we need to use 1 Munkidori this turn, so the Articuno goes to 60, and then we're gonna have to use another turn to put another 20 to bring the Articuno up to 80, and then on the 3rd turn, including this one, we can then bench 2 Munkidoris on that turn and then move like 40 over, and then also boss up the Articuno and use Phantom Dive to clean up that one, so then we can knock out both at the same time. So this is really cool deck. I really enjoyed this game plan. Actually, it's really unique compared to a lot of other decks in the format. So yeah, really taking advantage of what our opponent is not doing. And even though like they did knock out one of our Dunsparces, it did slow us down like a tiny bit, but I mean they can't really search for their energies, so they're gonna have to like, yeah, they can't really search for their energies, so like they're gonna have to like just draw them naturally. And I'm guessing like they don't really have any draw supporters, and like their Arianas can only draw them up to 8, but now that they have 9 cards in their hand, they can't really use that either. And I'm not taking any knockouts, so they can't use their archer supporter to shuffle both of our hands. So yeah, this is like really good. I use a boss here to bring up the Articuno because I don't want them to like maybe not attack with the Porygon and then like get rid of my Budew here either. So we should just be one turn away from knocking out both these Articunos here while they're item locked. And now I'm wondering if they're okay. They don't even have the Rocket's Honchkrow, which is really good for us. I don't think it would have mattered if they were gonna attack unless they knocked out the Munkidori, because I don't think I can recover 2 Munkidoris in this spot. But here we go. We're gonna move 20 to the Articuno, bench another Munkidori, get the 20 there, and then use the Night Stretcher to get our second Dark Energy from our discard pile, and then knock that Articuno out, and also use boss to knock out the other Articuno. And then if they get another Articuno down, they probably won't be able to get both, I would guess. We can draw into our last boss's orders hopefully, and then knock out that Articuno, and then maybe we'll be able to Phantom Dive for 2 prizes or 3. But by that point I think we're actually so far ahead that I probably don't even care if they have Articuno maybe. Just in case of TCG live glitch, I just spread the 20s, but yeah, it doesn't matter because it will just get prevented by the Articuno. And let's see, even if they, yeah, they would need like 6 supporters to knock out my Dragapult EX, and the Roto Stick even didn't grab any. So yeah, our opponent just concedes. Really cool game there. I was pretty happy with how that one played out. I think it could be a pretty unfavorable matchup otherwise, but yeah. And getting into our next game here, probably like a pretty decent opening hand, I guess. Poffin and Dreepy can't complain, up against a Lucario, which can be a little bit scary depending on how fast and aggressive they can be. But starting Munkidori is really good for us because they would need to use like 2 premium power pros if they wanted to knock it out with Soul Rock or like boss, plus Soul Rock and Lunatone and Energy and Air Balloon, which is pretty tough to find on the first turn. So I think this is really good for us. And they didn't even get a Lunatone down, which is obviously really good for us as well. And they didn't get an attachment for turn, so yeah, they might be a little bit behind here, but from what I remember, this game did get a little bit close. So here I think I'm just gonna grab this Risky Ruins because I know Lucario usually only plays like 1 stadium, so if I can just put the Risky Ruin in play, I can just like start building damage on their side pretty fast, and they don't really have any way to take advantage of the damage on my board either. So yeah, I'm just gonna like, oh yeah, this Makuhita is weak to Psychic, so I literally can just like knock out the Makuhita and prevent them from being able to like knock out my Drakloak. With Hariyama on the next turn, they could still boss it, of course, but it'll be a little bit harder. And next turn we'll have double recon plus the Dunsparce if we need it, and we just need to draw the Fire Energy. And here they still don't have Lunatone, which is pretty crazy actually. But yeah, so here maybe, I'm not sure if I should have immediately Poké Pad there. Okay, I'm just gonna Lillie, but like I was thinking maybe I don't play the Lillie yet in case I draw Crispin. I guess if I can draw Crispin Dragapult, maybe that would be better, because they could knock out my Dragapult EX next turn with the Mega Brave, a second attack, and like Premium Power Pro. So Yeah, it's okay. We get the Poffin here, and then we can keep drawing. And we just need to find Fire Energy. I do have like all my Fire Energies in my deck, so it's pretty unfortunate I did not draw into it there. So we're just gonna Jet Headbutt, and honestly it's like not very good for us at all, because now if they do knock this out, it would be pretty hard to chain Dragapults, because I already played a Crispin as well. But I think, let's see what they, yeah, they end up, they get the maximum belt, which just auto KOs the Dragapult if they wish to, but then they can't attack with Mega Brave on the next turn, which is also something important for us to think about, because we can Phantom Dive them, and then maybe this turn we go like find Fire Energy plus Dragapult EX plus Hero's Cape, and then they would need way a lot more to knock out this Dragapult. So we can get all that. I think we're in a pretty good spot. So yeah, I think we just need to could like Lillie first, but I don't even have, I need like Fire and Dragapult, and I guess I could also technically like boss this turn, but I think, yeah, hitting the active is probably just way too important. So I think I'm waiting to Lillie here in case I need to Crispin. That's probably why. But okay, so we have everything basically besides Dragapult EX and the Hero's Cape. So unfortunately, I probably missequenced that. I think I maybe should have just Lillied first. I mean, like, nothing in my hand was actually gonna help me that turn besides like the rocks potentially if I whiff everything, which is exactly what happened. So maybe I just Lillie, get a fresh new 6 card hand, and then like start reconning after that would probably have been more likely for me to find Hero's Cape Energy and Dragapult, if not at least just Fire and Dragapult. So okay, but yeah, we're pretty much in like, we're in like a pretty good spot here. If our opponent doesn't do any kind of healing, because we can just win next turn with well, not necessarily if they don't bench anything else, but say like they bench something here, we could go like Crispin, Dragapult, boss, and like win, but we can't Crispin and boss in the same turn, right? Because we missed the energy attachments. So and now they ended up wallying here, which I was a little bit concerned about wally, because now I would need a couple more turns to win. But because they wallied, actually I think it was really bad for them, because they left all my energies in play, which opens up room for me to start attaching to another Drakloak, and then Crispin, or maybe like Crispin this turn to Drakloak plus Dark on Munkidori, and then the following turn we can just win with the Munkidori, right? So here I can just like Phantom Dive again. I can move attach Dark to Munkidori, and then like knock out the Riolu, go down to 3 prize cards with 200 on the active, so it doesn't matter if they knock out my Dragapult, because they can only take 2 prizes at a time. So then they will go down to 1 prize card, and then I should be able to knock out the Lucario. But the thing I was worried about here is if they use a second Wally for somehow, if they play 2 in their deck, then they could Aura Jab and knock out my Dragapult, and then now I have to start all over again, and I don't have any energies, right? So if I attach the Hero's Cape, it kind of plays around their Wally, because then they can Aura Jab, but after I heal it still won't be enough unless they have, I think they would need the last 2 modifiers in their deck. So that would be, yeah, a lot for them to ask for. I mean, they do have 9 cards plus Lunar Cycle in their hand, so maybe it's not the worst. If they do heal, then yeah, that'd be like pretty annoying still. What I wanted to do was like Crispin to bench Drakloak, retreat, and Hero Escape a brand new fresh Dragapult EX, and have a Monkey Dark, but because I missed one of the attachments for Phantom Dive earlier in the game, I haven't been able to keep up with my monkeys as well, so I can't like retreat into a fresh Dragapult with Hero Escape and then force him to have Boss or Wally. If we could have forced him into supporter debt there, that would have been pretty game winning, I would say. But yeah, now we do risk them using the second Wally, and then we need to find like a lot more. But we'll see. So yeah, they can do 130 with Aura Jab plus 2 premium power pros with and let them knock out. Our Dragapult EX here, I believe 70, yeah. Or actually no, they'd have to. I think it still doesn't work. Yeah, no, they need to Mega Brave. Yeah, because if they heal, then they're still Aura Jabbing, which means they're not gonna win next turn or in 2 turns. So they they do end up playing the second Wally and then reattaching. Like I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. I don't think they needed to Wally the first one since when I was still at 4 prize cards, but now I definitely will. Okay, yeah, they're gonna go after my Munkidori here, sure. But yeah, at this point, if I can make, oh yeah, if I can, well, I don't think I can make another Munkidori because I think all my stretchers are gone and one of them did get knocked out earlier. However, there's a really cool play here that we can make. Now that they are only taking 1 prize card, and we have just the Dragapult with the Hero's Cape in play, we have 15, or after draw for turn, we have 14 cards left in our deck. We can essentially see our entire deck here by using the Dunsparce Recon, and go down to 7 unseen cards in our deck, and then play Pokégear to guarantee the Acerola's Mischief in our hand. And then we can Acerola the active Dragapult, and now our board will be an untouchable Dragapult from Lucario, plus just 1 prizers on our bench, which should seal us up the game. Now there is still a way we can lose because Acerola's Mischief only prevents damage and effects of attacks from our opponent's EX Pokemon done to all of our Pokemon. So since they charged up the Hariyama, I'm not sure if they were thinking about the Acerola, but I assume they did that just in case. They could use Hariyama plus 2 premium power pros for 270 for exact knockout on our Dragapult EX, but they would need to have the energy and 2 premium power pros. Now they do only have 2 left in their deck, so if they like prize one, that play would be impossible. And if they just like can't find it for some reason, that would also be good for us. But yeah, so Acerola is gonna be our best chance to come back from the situation here after all those Wallies. And they would also need, they also can't air balloon the, yeah, they can't air balloon the Mega Lucario. So I was like, okay, that's like another layer they need, but they do have Switch. And for some reason they played 2 Switches here. Maybe they didn't realize that or maybe they weren't paying attention or something when I played the Acerola. But yeah, they switched back into Mega Lucario, which literally cannot touch us. So we pretty much just win the game on the spot here. Because they can't Wally anymore and they try to do this trap thing, but yeah, it doesn't matter. We just retreat and can't Phantom Dive. So yeah, pretty amazing deck. Shout out once again to Mateus for coming up with this awesome list and winning Prague with it. And hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if there's any other decks that you'd like me to showcase going forward. Thanks for watching.